seen
Right.
a gazillion times before.
No, but I'm just wondering about the DVDs, if I could.
Well, I can just stick them in the post to you.
Yeah, would be better. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, and now already from this Spiccato this whole trip we made through all the pieces, it's great.
I think sometimes, I mean, I have a lot of thinking to do before I actually do my own teacher training course, obviously, but I do sometimes think, well, how would it be? I mean, definitely anyone who come and train with me, I want them to know the repertoire already. I think it's just the most ridiculous thing on earth that you can sign up for Unit 1, for Level 1, and you haven't learnt the pieces yet. I mean, what? Yeah. But, you know, so if you have a group of teacher trainees who arrive knowing all of Book 1 and 2, for instance, to say, okay, we're not going to go through the book, which is how they do it here, teaching points and blah, blah, blah. We're going to go, okay, so how do we... Obviously, you have to do the how do you teach the kid how to play up to the twinkles bit. But, like, okay, so now we've got student A who can play, you know, up to twinkle theme well. Mm-hmm. And so now how about, up bow, 2 up bows in a row, and how is that developed so that they can play which stuff? And just to pull them out right from the start, to have that web rather than the line, like the tube line of Book 1, Book 2, Book 3. Yeah. And then afterwards, you know, and I think so many teachers don't really have available to them in that split second that you need it in the lesson, that if a kid is having that problem with the up bows where they're bleeding together, that they just know which pieces to pick out.
Exactly.
And then most of us are not committed enough to go home and look it up, and, you know, mostly you just do what you can do at the time, don't you? I mean,
I do. Yes. Yeah.
So, would you like to play me the Barkavot? We're not going to spend very much time on it. And then we'll go through the second one that we didn't get to.
Yeah.
Let me just put the music up so that I can scribble in it if I need to. Are you happy about perpetual motion in Book 4, by the way? I'm aware that we haven't sort of touched on it at all.
I have days where I can play it quite well, and other days where I'm really struggling. Because
I feel like your sights concertos, you will know exactly what to do from the tone work that we've been doing this time. Sights 3 maybe we could talk about sometime. Yeah. In a double stop development way that we did with Spiccato today, but not this trip. Yeah. The Vivaldi concertos is just like the perfect piece for your playing and your students playing. That would be like totally fun and wonderful. And then Bach double also. So in my kind of, you know, like trainer rather than teaching you as a violinist kind of head, I kind of think that that's a little bit of a hole, the size 3 and the perpetual motion. Yeah. Do you want to just talk about it for 2 minutes, or should we do it next time?
No, do it.
Okay.
By all means.
So, to stick on the spiccato but not up bow spiccato thing, it used to be that sautier, do you know what sautier is?
Jumping, I know, it's jumping...
Well, so spiccato is where the hair and the stick both bounce. And you can't do it very fast. That's about as fast as you can, otherwise it just sticks on. Yeah. And sautier is the faster version where your hair doesn't leave the string, but your stick is still bouncing. So you can see the stick going up and down, but the hair doesn't have time to leave, and it's right on the top of the string. And
are you only playing it with your fingers, by the way? It looks like oh no, I see. Yeah.
And so so it used to be that Book 8 was the first time we had sautier, and then they put perpetual motion in, and it doesn't say sautier, it says spiccato, but for most teachers that I'm working with, we are teaching it to a kid like Francesca on the string, slower. Yeah. And then it's the same as all of them. Type of semiquavers. Yeah. And then so they almost have to go slower to do it spiccato.
It's really difficult, yeah.
So I use this slower as an in-between stage for them to learn how to play repeated spiccato. But But I don't really want to listen to it like that, especially because it goes on and on and on at that speed forever.
Yeah.
So then, as soon as they can do that, we learn Coutier.
Yeah. And very fast.
And most kids don't need the first stage. Most of mine can learn. Well, let's forget about the introduction because we mostly need that on. But while they're looking at the music and they're trying to sort it all out in their heads.
Yeah.
And then once they know it and their fingers have got fast enough and they've done the boxes on the tricky bits.
Yeah.
So that is this sort of disconnect, the same as we have with country dance in a different way, where the left hand has to be able to keep up with the right hand, otherwise you can't do the technique.
Yeah.
Just like for the spiccato to fit in, you have to have a quick left hand in country dance, but it's very hard, so often they can't play it that fast for a while. So then you just teach it on the string or you change the bowing and then they get it all together eventually. Why don't you play me a bit of perpetual motion as you would if I hadn't said anything in the last 5 minutes?
Let's see if I can play.
There's an open A in between.
It's a mess.
Okay, it is a mess. It's
Yeah.
too high in the bow.
Too high.
So if you're going to play it at the middle, you need more in the string, and then you don't want that really, because unless you're going to teach it on the string,
Yeah.
that's just practicing the same as all the sides is.
Yeah.
So it's a very V-shaped arm that you want by this stage.
A V-shaped
Yeah.
arm hanging.
Yeah.
I'm
2,
I'm
1,
lost.
1.
Yeah. I'm lost.
Okay.
Can I
Yes, of course.
can I use another?
Yes, of course.
I'm very happy that we do this as well. You know,
Oh, good.
because it's yeah. It's another thing that's really bugging me.
So straight on here.
Yeah. Should I play maybe a little slower?
It depends how you want to, what you're trying to show me. I'm not interested in whether you can play the notes. I know that you can play the notes. So if you want to show me how you would do it with spiccato, so that your kids can practice spiccato even though it doesn't really suit this piece. And I just think it's really interesting that they put this staccato,
Quasi-spiccato.
quasi-spiccato. I mean, just call it Coutier. It's Coutier. It's not
Yeah.
staccato. It's a really weird thing to write anyway. Not right.
I don't even know what kind of stroke I'm doing.
Okay,
But-
so let's do a little bit of spiccato, so the speed will come right down.
Yeah.
And it's very good practice for this weird string crossings with spiccato.
Yeah. It's a long time.
Okay, so that's fine, your spiccato is lovely.
Really.
It's a little crunchy
Yeah.
from that same thing that we were talking about a minute
Yeah.
ago. So if you were doing that and you wanted to refine that, you just work on how far into the string you're going with each stroke, how much tilt you have,
Yeah.
and then you'll be fine. And just listening for that rather than listening for everything else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay, so faster. But yeah, maybe just like this, because if you don't know the notes, it's easy. We'll just do it on an F sharp.
It's 2 weeks ago that I
Yeah.
played.
It's good. The stick is doing exactly the right thing. Can you lighten it so you're not so crunchy? But fast. There you go. And then just tilt a bit more and see if you can improve the tone. So the clicking is what the kids say. I can't stop it clicking. Do you hear what I'm talking about?
I hope so. that is the clicking one.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're not giving any weight of your arm into the string at all. Very, very un-Suzuki, all the rest of it. This is moving a tiny bit, but this is almost completely still. That's better. Lighter. So don't drop that. You want to hold this. That's better. And a bit more loose in your wrist, if you can. There you go.
Woo! Wow, great, oh, lovely.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, yeah,
Good.
yeah,
So
it does.
three-
And it's on film, so I can watch and
So the crucial thing is holding your arm weight, especially for the kids. They are used to giving the weight of the bow to the string, giving the weight of the arm to the string all the time. You know, they've been doing this for like probably, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 years by the time they're on this piece.
Yeah.
And then we expect them to suddenly get very light. And so you have to be really clear with them. You are using your muscles to hold your arm in the air. You are not able to rest your arm in the string because you'll get that.
Yeah.
And this movement, like bouncing a tennis ball as if you were playing basketball.
Yeah.
And so you can do all sorts of things with the rubber band here, and then you just hit them.
Yeah.
And they kind of come back up. That kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And like you saw with Kai, because this is sort of the same thing. This thing he was doing was to get this circle action happening more, but that is also because he, you know, a few weeks ago he was playing. I can't believe that he could actually play it, but like and he made it sound like really amazing, but he was somehow using his entire arm to create
And
this
force.
quasi spiccato. And
Did he
it
manage
was
to
like,
make
you
the
know,
string cross?
well, it didn't sound very nice, but yes. And
Is
at the
that
end of it, he looked like he'd run a marathon. One other thing about this piece.
Yeah.
A sautier can only go to about somewhere between mezzo forte and forte. Because it has to be light. So really that is either now spiccato, and then or you just involve the forearm more if they're playing it slightly slower. And they come into the string and back out the string.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Be careful, I'm sure you won't make this mistake, but I have heard lots of teachers play. 2, 3, 4. It goes on forever. God, it's so annoying. Anyway. So we must actually teach them to play what's on the part, even if we disagree.
Yeah.
Happy?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to make sure that you can see yourself?
Yeah, I see myself. I start again.
Okay. I'm sorry, I think you might need to do your bow up a bit more. I can hear the stick touching the hair, or the string. It's much better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Bless you. Just in time to not spread that chord. No. Da-da.
Can I start from?
There, please. That's it. Yeah. Stop. Very nice. Well done. So much better.
I'm not
So-
certain about this. What should be?
The same as these.
But well, yeah, okay.
2 and 1.
Because this B is so important.
You won't lose it. So sometimes you are still spreading, but I know that you are aiming not to, so it's just practice.
Yeah.
Um,
And I played this one.
yeah, well
Okay,
done.
Yeah.
These need to be more brushy,
Yeah.
but I know that also that's more practice.
And these ones need to be a little lighter.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is
When-
all
when
fine,
they were
this is
passed, I
just
forgot.
getting it.
Yeah.
The only thing I would check or think about is that when you listen, like when you listen back on the recording,
Yes.
I think you will notice maybe more tonal blips than you hear when you're in the moment. That's exactly the same for me.
Tonal blips. What,
Like
what is
little tonal mistakes, like if when the tone crunches or skids or
Okay.
something, that
Yeah, yeah.
unless you have decided in advance that's what you're listening for, and you can only
Right.
do that in pieces that are not new
Yeah.
or not in a work in progress, they can pass you by and you don't compute them because you're thinking about so many other things, and that's
Right.
totally fine.
Yeah.
But when you listen in the recording, you're just sitting on your armchair, you'll go, oh.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and I
Okay.
think that the thing that will really help with that is to feel that every time you're coming towards the E string, it's led from the elbow. That a lot of this is happening, and then you kind of write it.
Yeah.
Whereas not aggressively, but just
Balloon.
nope. 2 and 1. Yeah. So just think about that, you know, and maybe it wouldn't be too much to just do a few of these and just feel that really when you're coming towards the E, it is led by the elbow and the hand takes you back up again. Do you do this with your babies?
No.
Okay.
Well, yes, I do, but not all the four strings.
So in a
Okay.
nutshell, 1 minute explanation of how I teach this. We do, obviously when they're on the E they're fine, they just play on the E string. When they're on the A we do, when they're on the A we just tip and go and play A. And then before they have done E and A string crossing together,
Yeah.
we do seesaw, Marjorie, door on the bridge so they can't fall off without realising.
Brilliant, on the bridge.
Johnny will have a new master. He will have but a penny a week because he can't work any faster. And you see the chicken kids do this. And then you can work on your hand rises up. This is the helium balloon.
And yeah,
And then, you know, someone tugs your elbow down.
yeah, yeah.
And that it is not a symmetrical movement. It's not just flapping. And then maybe 2 weeks later or 1 week if they're very quick, then we do it on the string to see if they can do it without making any sound and parallel to the bridge.
Yeah.
Because this is what will happen then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise. And then with some, maybe the older kids, we might practice going to D and then to A. But with the young kids who can just do it because their bodies are just so
Agile. So
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
We just drop your elbow, Raise your hand. Drop your elbow. Raise your hand. Okay.
What do you do with
Same.
but they have no time to
They
go.
won't think about it. They don't think about it. If they've learnt it slowly from the beginning, that's just how they change string.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, I don't really normally, with my average kids, have to talk again about which is leading until double string crossings in book 2.
Right.
Okay. No.
I may have to read, Kate. Because I keep getting confused about these double stops. I've
Okay.
played them a million times.
So in the string.
Ah.
So this is Bach. He didn't write any of this editorial nonsense in here. Not. Yeah, and that the challenge for us with that is to get the piano for this to be very light and
It
brushy
really is
there.
piano.
I play like this. I mean, so more like a diminuendo, but not.
I have a tendency to make it wild.
Yeah.
Ah, I see now there's this line over it. Ah.
So very light in the string. Not that light.
Yes.
Your E is jumping off. Do you realise that?
Jumping off
Your
an
bow
E.
is jumping off on the E.
It shouldn't.
Not for me. So fingers there.
One more time.
No, let's go on.
Ah,
Very good.
good. To make this sound, I find really difficult.
Oh, okay.
To-
Maybe from there. I'm going on.
It seems so
Try
weak.
piano. The problem with having your court jester idea for this piece is that there are certain parts where you cannot make it work. Because it's Bach and it's not really wild, and it's refined
That's another
and
one
beautiful
going.
and dignified. Well, this is the problem with the bloody Suzuki repertoire. It's all Baroque.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, really, like, that's why the that's why so many teachers in book 5 go, oh, fuck this all shit.
Yeah.
Let's just go and do some other stuff.
Yeah,
Because, you
some
know, if
real
you're going
stuff.
to, so either you compromise massively on musical integrity and you teach it however the kids and you want to play it, but certain parts don't work like that.
Yeah.
I mean, this works, that's fine, this bit
Yeah.
works,
Yeah.
but there's quite significant parts of it that don't really fit the mould.
Yeah.
And, or you just go, okay, well, we'll play this how it's supposed to be and other stuff how that's supposed to be, and you choose the repertoire that's more appropriate. I think you have to be more flexible with Suzuki the further on through the books you get, because otherwise it really, I mean, really produces the most excellent Baroque in a romantic 1950s style students.
The chord gesture isn't. The chord gesture itself might be working actually here, but that's why this feels strange to
Yeah.
me.
Then that's the queen or the princess, or you know,
That's what it is.
some very refined and dignified, beautiful person.
Yeah. Like myself.
Yes.
Yes.
Go on then.
Okay.
Why don't you go from here the second time? That's it.
Even softer?
You'll laugh when you listen back on the video. That is a very healthy mezzo forte. Ah. Yeah, very nice.
I just noticed that this grace note suddenly is working.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely.
Okay. Nice.
Very nice. Really nice.
Wonderful.
This is great. Make sure that you don't inadvertently find yourself like that.
Like this.
Yeah.
Can I
And very
try?
much from the wrist.
Like this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and the sound is so much alive like that because, you know, when we move our bow this way, we are adding all of this noise into our tone.
Yeah.
And when you move it this way, you are getting pure tone. So, yeah, lovely. Okay,
Wonderful.
great. We have 10 minutes. What would you like to do?
Maybe this one? Or
Okay.
you say no?
You don't want to do... Well, you don't want to do country dance because we know
No.
what you have to do to
And-
prepare for it.
And this I have been working on the fingerings. They have changed. I have days that I play it and it's like wow, and other days I suddenly realize I'm making big vibrato again, and
Okay.
it's in progress. I've played it a lot.
Okay. I've just realised we haven't talked at all about studies or double stops.
Should
Not
we?
double stops, scales.
No.
How much? Well, what do you want to do? Play this to me or talk about those two things?
Talk about those two things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless
let me see. Wait, what's it? Maybe I have a Veracini question.
Yes, yes.
Let me see. For instance.
I love the Veracini.
Oh, me too.
Oh,
Can I play a little bit of it so
Yes,
that you
please.
watch and
Yes.
tell me?
One more time. Just get your elbow in the position that you want it to be in before you start. You're not starting this in the string, obviously, but if you start out like this, you won't get the tone. Okay, that's much better. And now can you free everything so the sound speaks? Yeah, let's just talk about that first bit. I think maybe a bit more bow. It keeps sounding a bit like an F sharp. That's it. That's better. Okay, so more bow on the down bows. at lifting, but you need more bow on your down bows to make the tone, and therefore quicker up bows. One more time?
Yeah.
Be aware of your elbow
Yes.
for a while.
Yeah.
And then you have, for performance, you have a choice. Very light. Where the elbow is more held.
Yeah.
And you are mostly on top of the string. Which is obviously the more baroque way to play it, and means that you can play it faster. And less consolidating all those skills of, you know, the more old school Suzuki. And this is useful for a whole load of other reasons. So, you know, Dr. Suzuki's reason for not ever doing studies was that he wanted his students to practice all the skills in the pieces.
Yes.
So we have to bear that in mind. And also we can do that. I don't like to do that with things like shifting that is just really unmusical and horrible and very hard to do. I would rather they practiced a study that has it 60 times on 2 pages and, you know, doesn't sound awful.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of things like bow stroke and interpretation, you can have a bunch of kids who go, okay, let's play the, you know, the romantic version. Dum ba dum ba bum bum ba, and we'll practice the heavy elbow, really in the string, very brilliant control over the different bow speeds.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can say, okay, and now the baroque way, you know, and that's totally fine.
Brilliant.
Any problem?
No. Well, yeah. Well.
But you know how to fix them, or you know how to practice them.
I don't know. I do like this.
That's a very odd fingering.
I agree, because at the moment I'm raising the first finger. Wacht hè. Oh, sorry.
Very nicely in tune. Very nicely in tune.
What do you do there?
I shift after the, like for the chord. That's not the best way to do it for the kids because it adds something more difficult at the same time. So most of mine go into second. There.
Okay.
With
But then,
an A is fine. And then it's not a shift, it's an extension.
yeah. Yeah.
But not, I mean, so that's not what you're doing, that one there, with the 2 before.
No.
So, okay, good. Okay, then it's fine.
Yeah. And this I love. I can play this 1,000 times.
It's so lovely.
Oh, it's so wonderful.
Well, we have 3 minutes. Shall we
Good.
just play it together? To play it all together? Yeah? How would you like to do it?
As if I have a choice. I mean, I will play it the clumsy way I do.
No, you won't. Okay, would you like to do it slower and in the string, or faster and on the string? On the top of the string?
Faster.
Okay, right. So we won't do the repeat just because of timing. Careful with that time.
hang on.
Marvellous.
Oh, lovely this piece.
Piano is very quiet. Record
Yes.
yourself more and more. It's amazing how much you realise you think you're making a very different sound.
Yeah.
And when you're 2 feet away, it becomes maybe mezzo forte to forte and fortissimo. And the bottom just drops off it.
Haha.